New episode. I groaned in utter pain and affliction for a few seconds, feeling terrible of the shudder of agony moving in my muscles. My body ached profusely as I tried to shift on the surface I was lying on. I felt dead, utterly dead. Seriously, since when was my body feel so heavy to even left? I could not even move a little bit. It was like something was pinning me down completely. I was paralyzed in a way, and with that thought, I was debating in my mind whether I was having sleep paralysis or not. I could not speak or utter a sound because of the torturous feeling on my neck. Not even a small excuse could be uttered from my lips, making me want to scream in frustration, but obviously I could not do that either. It felt like air was coming in and out of my throat. Of course it is. I have like two punctured holes on them now, inviting oxygen in for a cup of tea. I never understood the pain endured by the werewolves when it comes to marking. Everyone just describe it pleasurable and like an injection. You dip, you bite, you crawl and done. It did not really sound that bad, and even people describe it as not that painful until now. There are either two things: either my pain tolerance is set or they outdid the performance, or it could also be the some rules did not mark their made to this extent because my own maid made the word subtitle go out the front door and instead brought in Miss Relaxing Phyllis. After a few seconds of just laying there on the surface, I did gain some power over my body to actually open my eyes just to find the same Chandra I see every morning once I woke up in his bed, causing a wave of relief to wash over my shaken nerves. I took in my surroundings as much as possible, not seeing many things because of the white sheet that towered my vision. I did, however, feel a little cozy in this position with the warm blanket curled around my body, making me feel amazing. I tried to stretch, and you know you have a good strength if you have a scissor like vibration throughout your body. I was craving the same vibration but failed miserably because of the pain, the suit all over again because of the small movement. Oh, I groaned out loud while rubbing my shoulder after gaining more power on my arm. I place where the pain came from the most. I need to go to the bathroom. How the heck I'm supposed to move with this pain? One arm at a time, I murmured to myself like a teacher while popping my arms to the bed and lifting my upper body, cheering in my mind to see it's working, only to be pushed back down by a muscular arm. Tehong. I groaned while looking up at the ceiling and closed eyes before he turned his perfectly sculptured face to me, with his eye closed and wrapped the same arm around my waist stubbornly, not letting me move. 5 more minutes, he murmured in his sleep, causing me to chuckle softly while seeing his tired expression, seeing his hand curp into my skin, feeling his earthly power radiate off to him. Even when he was enjoying his slumber, even in your sleepy voice, you sound oddly alluring. Thanks, baby. Shit, why do I say shit out loud? I have to go to the bathroom. Let me go, I pleased softly while trying to lift his arm, almost tugging in away from me. But he just growled in disapproval and tightened his hold even more, almost excusing my neck with his abnormally muscular arm, making me glub. I said 5 more minutes. He spoke clearly this time, turning his lips into a snail with his eyes still closed, making me sign with the shake to my head and relax back on the bed headboard in a boardroom. I waited there patiently for 5 minutes as he wanted me to, while rubbing my eyes when multiple yawns created my mood and massaged his arm, tracking a small pattern on it, and then try again after the time was up, tugging at his arm so that he let me escape his death hold. Baby, I saw stay in the bed, he complained in a deep voice as I tried to ignore how sexy he sounded like, and I huffed. It's been 5 minutes now, come on, I whisper yell while trying to untangle his finger from my waist to no avail because he slapped away my hand with his other arm, causing me to gasp dramatically. Tehong, I spoke through mind link and he did not bug. Kim Tehong, no response. Tehong, 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 Tehong. We will stop, he grumbled again in his morning voice among the wall of my mind, making me groan in annoyance again. Guess I have no choice left. It's hurt. I quickly yelled at the top of my lungs, feeling all the power came back gradually after staying awake for a few minutes, ignoring the pain caused by it, causing him to quickly get up in a bang and cover my body with a soft duvet and hover above my protectively while I squeezed in an indigestion. Tehong, it's too warm. Let me breathe, I wailed while seeing him eyeing the room carefully after shifting the blanket off my face. Once he found nothing is some sort of danger, he glared at me after meeting my eyes under him. Why the did you scream? He growled, trying to sound scary but instead sound adorable because of the midway yawn that greeted him, making me laugh. You would not let me go, I croaked out in a small voice while he did not make any attempt to move away from me. His lower body was crushed on me, and his arms were on either side of my head with our chests touching. What make you think I would let you go now? He asked with a cold expression, and I scoffed because I'm asking you to. I need to go to the bathroom. Carry me, please. I questioned happily while stretching my arms up to him, and he smiled shapelessly. I anyways can't walk to the bathroom because of the pain. Might as well take his petrol like help to get me places. Well, petrol would not really carry their bosses to the places, but you get my point. He rolled off the bed and fixed his grey sweatpants and wrapped one of his arm under both of my knees and other one behind my back to lift me up effortlessly. He then made me jump in his arm as he pulled me closer and walked to the bathroom while I wrapped my arms around his neck for more support. Does it hurt everywhere? He asked softly. Of course it does, all thanks to you. I scoffed and he frowned, flashing a little bit of a guilt in his eyes, and my expression softened because of it. I'm joking, okay? It's good that you marked me well, I resolved while caressing his stubble. I had to, and I'm not sorry about it, he teased while biting his lips, emphasizing that he was proud of his performance, making me go haywire in my mind again, along with Eve. We entered the bathroom in a few seconds, and he gently placed me down on the sink counter like the day before and put my leg apart for him and come closer to me. I want to see my mark, I announced excitedly while he shifted a bit to help me turn around properly, and then I saw it in a mirror, gasping at the sight the initial KTH look curved on the bite mark he created yesterday as my skin held those letters with a scarlet color. It was like the mark itself morphed into the alphabets, imprinting my blood in a specific pattern permanently. Astonished me to the brim as it looked amazing. It's so beautiful, I murmured while touching it carefully as it was not healed completely, yet retracting my hand if it stung under my touch. Not everyone will know that you are mine. Tehung chuckled darkly while making me look at him, already becoming more possessive than before because we finished the next stage of the maid bond. Does this mean I'm officially in your pack? Yes, baby. Welcome to Shadow Moon Pack. This place looks nice. I chuckled greatly while we entered a new area in the pack house, specifically somewhere that was away from the fun room. Surprising, acting like a basement. Never knew I would call basement beautiful, but this place was flooded with the clean fish tanks. He nodded with a grin as a response as he was pulling me toward through many hallways. There were many aesthetical artists painting on the wall, to top with healthy plants and bright light on the ceiling that made it look like a hotel that I saw on the Hang's phone. This whole pack screamed luxury. What are we doing here? I asked curiously while looking at some people working and speed walking across the room, occasionally bowing their head at us or smiling at our intertwined hand. We are here to meet Dr. Lee. He replied casually. A doctor? Is something wrong? I asked worriedly. Everything is fine, baby. We are just here to get a checkup done for you. He absorbed by squeezing my hand, making me purr in a turmoil before shrugging. If you say so, I giggled while we finally approached a wide big door in the middle of hallway. After walking for 5 minutes, God, this place was like a maze. Without hesitation, Taehong opened the door and pulled me in and closed the door softly behind us after making us enter. This place looked like a doctor's office. with every medical equipment to exit display in front of eyes. It looked very accurate, like a normal office. "Good morning, Alpha," a man greeted with a genuine smile while bowing his head as an act of respect entering from the connected room of his office and brightened his eyes at the sight of me next to him. "Dr. Lee," Taehong praised while placing me in front of him. You must be the Luna. Pleased to meet you. I'm Lee Chang-wook, or Lee for short." He introduced himself professionally while extending his hand for a shake, and I gladly accepted with it with a smile. "Likewise, and please call me Yuna," I spoke awkwardly. "Of course. Have a seat," he offered while gesturing me to the fancy chair on the corner of the room placed offer near the main desk. We quickly took a seat, and Dr. Lee wore his glasses, clasping his hand in front of him before clearing his throat. "How may I help you today, Alpha? I would like a checkup to be done on her to make sure everything is fine and also record her speed of healing," he instructed. "Certainly, can you sit on the bed for me, Yuna?" he asked politely while pointing at the typical high bed you would find while going to the doctors. I nodded softly, understanding, and used the step as an advantage to climbing the tall bed. I saw Taehong get up and lean on the nearby bookshelf with his arms crossed, watching my every move carefully, and I grinned at him while he gave me a small smile. Dr. Lee came to me with his stethoscope and some more types of equipment in the side, which I did not know the name of, and took my temperature, heard my heartbeat, checked both my ears and mouth, checked my vitals, reflexes, and absolutely usual. He checked my weight, my height, and any recent symptoms which I might have had because of some fever, which I gladly did not, and also my eyesight. Apparently, everything seems to be fine, although I'm noticing some muscles fatigue and occasional fast heartbeat due to the effects of the marking. I will prescribe you some painkiller for the neck and shoulder and some sleeping pills to help you sleep better, he instructed while writing weird words with the same weird handwriting in a notepad, which I could not really understand. It is just me, or do all the doctors have the weird handwriting? I would advise her to have a proper meal every day with a high protein and even carbs. Her voice seems to be quite powerful, but her human body needs more immunity to cope with the wolf's strength. Her body weight is less than the average, and considering her young appearance, it is the immediate response and responsibility for eating well during post-puberty stage. She is more on a young side who's become a Luna very soon. He claimed my collarbone for a brief moment, looking for something, making me suck in my lips nervously after his explanation, feeding with my fingers. As I was examining your marks, Alpha, it seems that you have done a quite wonderful job with the depth of the bite. There is nothing wrong with it, but it's better if she rests for the next few days, and most of the painful pressure would go to straight to the area near her collarbone. You almost cracked her bones indirectly. He chuckled while looking at his notepad. While my eyes widened, "But I assure you there's nothing to be afraid of. It's normal in marking. But I would like to ask you for a few questions, Yuna." "Sure." "What's your age?" "16." "Any genetical defect?" "No." "What would you eat on the daily basis?" "Some bread or omelette in the morning, occasionally some fruit, but then I'm not hungry." "Is your menstrual cycle regular?" Never talked about this with a male before, for God's sake, Jonah. He is a doctor. Of course, he will ask that. "Yes." "Can you describe the blood flow between mediocre and normal and overflow between normal and overflow?" I murmured. "Have you ever had a disease in the past?" "I have had chicken pox when I was 8, and then also had a dengue fever for 2 years ago." When was the first time you shifted? I don't exactly remember, but it was between the age of 13 and 14. How's your wolf behavior? In what context are you asking? I asked specifically embarrassed about what he might be expecting. Her mood, and don't worry, this information is only between us. No need to bring us filter. He smiled, reassuring. Well, she's mostly protective, does not really talk much, not really moody, but is occasionally. Taeyong purposely perked his ear up in a smirk while looking at me, already knowing what I'm going to say, and Dr. Lee nodded in understanding, almost encouraging me to speak further. Is horny, like really, really horny, more aroused than a normal wolf would be. I finished trying to look somewhere else other than Taehong himself. It seems like that because of being mated to an alpha, especially to one of the god. It's natural for your wolves to have more heightened emotion than a normal werewolf. It's completely expected for having these kind of moods, especially now that you are almost an adult due to the urge to mate. She will act like this. No wonder she is always dirty minded. I will prepare her a diet chart with a specific food item to help her immunity and nutrition. So I have mentioned the time and duration of the medicine taking. Do you have any question? He asked while looking at both of us. I had one question. I murmured softly and Dr. Lee nodded. Is there any organic medicine for getting rid of the scars? I asked hesitantly and I could literally feel Tehong frown while looking at me. There is, but depending upon the condition of your scars, I can recommend the exact product. Would you mind me letting me check? He asked hastily while asking for permission from Taehyung after looking at him, and Taehyung just nodded curtly, only staring at me with his spectacle eyes. I pointed at my back shyly as he reached for the hem of my shirt and only lifted a bit for it, briefly looking at the end of the scars and then stepped away from me. I will have the cream made just for you, but I do have a good news. These scars would not be permanent. They will be gone in a span of a few weeks. Just apply it regularly at night for the next 2 weeks before bed, and you will be done, he said while heading back to the desk. As I get from the bed, that's all I have for you, Alpha. I make sure to send heavily to deliver you specific prescription. Thank you, Dr. Lee. Tae-hung nodded while grabbing my hand and quickly dismissed ourselves from his office, and I waved back at him, smiling. Dr. Lee, as he did the same before we left. Well, that went better than expected, I murmured to myself. See, I told you everything is fine, he said calmly while leading me to the elevator, not meeting my eyes right now, making me frown. You seem soft, I blurted out accidentally as he pressed the button of his desired floor and signed deeply before turning to me, using his other hand to circle my opposite arm, staring at me intensely while a lot of emotion in her eyes. It's nothing, it's just you mentioning your scars made me stir up and some horrible occurrence. He spat dangerously, making me utter an "oh" in response before I hugged one of his arms. Forget about it, I'm happy right now, I giggled. Are you? He asked softly. Theon, what kind of a question is that? Of course I'm happy. I'm happier than I have ever in my life, I exclaimed while tugging at his arm, not even lying one bit, making him smile before cupping my cheeks tenderly. Okay, okay. He chuckled while kissing my lips. Don't think this about the past. What happened had happened. I'm here now. I absorbed while cupping his face, and you are safe, he cursed while wiggling our nose together. He's right, I'm safe. There is no way that this is your office, I cursed out loud while only reaching the entrance of his office floor, looking at the fountain that graced the front door beside the elevator. This is just the beginning, baby. My office is inside. He chuckled softly, making my mouth gasp even more as I stared at him in disbelief. What about the office we went to yesterday? I thought that was your main office. I trailed off. That Is the pack house office baby. This is my wing of the pack house, which means a separate office, a separate floor, a separate country. He murmured sarcastically. You're crazy. I shook my head to oblivious, making him laugh a little as he walked in front of me while his hand in his pocket. I followed him with a curiosity lingering in my whole body as the light of the marble wall and the floor illuminated the space, reflecting almost every corner, giving it a glassy appearance, ultimately resulting in an expensive-looking building. Every single detail was paid attention to as our first step echoed throughout the hallway, satisfying me with the sound of my heels before I bumped into his back because of his after stop making me huff, and I looked up at him. Sorry, I murmured, softly touching my forehead with my fingertips before he looked over his shoulder at me, meeting my gaze while thinking about something intensely and grabbing my hand in his afterward. It's okay, you are not hurt, right? He informed while making sure I shook my head as a no before he signed and looked ahead of him as we came to set off the double glass door and he started to type something on a keypad beside the door and then it clicked making the door open automatically. Let's go, he whispered happily, leading me inside the waiting room as we embarked on what looked like a whole lobby with a reception desk in it. Good morning, Mr. Kim. Oh, sorry. Good morning, Luna. A young-looking receptionist stared excitedly while I hung with the hungry eyes before her twinkling spark was lost after finding me behind him. Seriously, does everyone has a crush on him? Do I have any appointment? Taehoon asked professionally. Yes, Alpha One with the Kim brother later in the evening. Other than that, you are free, she murmured quietly before clearing her throat while becoming a small behind her desk. Good. If anything else come up, cancel it, he ordered firmly before pulling me to the next corridor as I walked, waved at her goodbye while she just stared at me weird. Does every unmated female over here having a liking toward you? I giggled to Taehyung pretty much. I don't let it faze me. It does, however, get a bit annoying at the time. He repeated, how you know when it like the mating season I have to lock myself in the room so that no horny pup can tear my clothes once again. He frustratedly concerned. Again, it happened 3 times. He chuckled right after. Don't they know that you don't want anything to do with them? They don't get the message anyone would want to mate with werewolf caught in believing that the pup we would have would be powerful. He rolled his eyes. That is depressing. I commented, now that you are here, I don't have to worry about that anymore. He smirked. Judging by the fact that half of the people don't believe that I'm your mate, who are the majority of your female wolves, how is that supposed to help? I'm sure your wolf has a brilliant idea on how to take care of these females. I just have to watch. He whispered cheekily, making my cheeks false. Oh, yes, I have a ways. They better stay away from our man. Eve growled at the back of my mind. Great nervously though, as Taehong sneaked beside me while we continued to walk. God, good to know that your wolf is protective as we or even almost matching to his capacity, he murmured admittedly. To his capacity, how protective is we? He can't be that protective, right? I asked crossly with a small voice. Oh, I'm very protective, my lovely mate. Taehong voice suddenly spoke in a different voice, making my body tense up as I saw his orbs turning into a bright topaz before my eyes, causing me to stare at him bewildered. I stuttered quietly before he opened a huge black door behind me and pulled me into a spacious room with a yank. Before I could see anything inside, he closed the room door and backed me into caging me in his arm as his figure towered over mine. Hello, mate, he greeted with a sharp, smug look while Eve was howling in the back of my mind as his presence begging me to give her control. I did not have much of a choice as she took over the control anyway without even waiting for my response, making my eyes turn bright emerald green as Eve naturally smiled at him as her aunt greeting V. She chirped happily, letting him hold me by my waist and lifting me against the door. Then gradually placing his hand under the thighs and gripping it, I quickly realized that probably the horniest wolves are taking control of our bodies, making me squeeze a streak in my mind. Seeing V suddenly look a lot more like an actual alpha, with his deadly expression making Eve completely weak. Eve went fully assertive as he grabbed his collar and made our lips crash together in a merge second as naturally Taehyung grown into the kiss, honestly expecting it, letting his fang along for the few seconds, then making Eve moan. We he breathed out still, with our foreheads clenched together in a desperation while we were both gasping for air after that heated moment, and I gulped all the saliva down my throat. I replied in a croak, returning the same intensity though my voice as he offered me before he gave me a quick on a forehead and picked me up again in his strong muscular arm. Then he moved around the deck, reaching for his chair on the other side as he comfortably sat on it, first with me on his lap after later, before letting me adjust on his thighs properly. I think now you know how protective we can be. He coughed seamlessly while I just nodded into his chest and huffed a small snicker. I don't think I need another confirmation on that topic, I murmured sincerely, making his chest rumble as he gave out a small crotches. Anyway, before we have the meeting with your brother, I wanted to talk about the system that is followed in the pack of the God of Werewolves. Since now that you are a Luna, he started with a new topic, and as I lift my head from his chest to look at him, simply nodding for him to continue. As I have told you before, I have many packs housed with the thousands of werewolves in my pack, and so far, I think my members have failed to show you the respect you deserve. He rolled his eyes, already lacking his voice, with a deep disappointment, referring to the warm welcome by those two welcomers. That's fine, Tehong. I'm sure not everyone is like them, I suggested optimistically. Your optimism is what thrills me. He laughed genuinely, making me almost blush at his words. So, to get to know the real deal with the pack member, I'm going to make sure you feel welcome by a Luna ceremony where you will be introduced as my mate formally in front of everyone. Is that okay? He asked softly while putting his finger under my chin, making my eyes meet his own with a curious gentleness drawing in them. Of course, I would love to meet them. I smiled. Good. We will have the ceremony in the next few days. Now on to the system of the pack. You do know there is total three gods. Yes, but I don't know much about the concept of God. But like, are you actual God like the one people have to worship and stuff? No, we are only labor as a god because of our power. Our wolves are as normal as any other pack member, but combined with the historic bloodline and training, strength passed on by our ancestor. Three families flourished out of the most of the other wolves, so that's how we become the most well-known alphas. Oh, that's so cool. So who are the other two alphas alongside me? Alpha Dr. Sukjin and Alpha Namjoon King are the other gods. Tell me, do you notice the link between our surname? You are a knight, Alpha Namjoon is a king, and Alpha Sukjin a doctor. Oh yeah, I see it now. Is it like a royalty system? You could say that we are pronounced as a god because of our family generation and our power over werewolves. Initially, the king family was supposed to be the only ruler of all werewolves, but they themselves mentioned that the knights and the healers are to be equally important as the rulers since knights were responsible for the security of the werewolves from humans, which include war, fight, arguments, and so on, while healers were responsible for the maintaining peace with in each other's pack with laws, council, treaties, and medicines or all. That's impressive, very inclusive indeed it is. So that's how no matter what godly pack people visit, the three of us are seen as equal with no one above the other. Together our pack contains more than 1 lakh werewolves and all of them are situated around the border of the country. Holy wait, 1 lakh? That many? In just this country? How? Like, how do you manage? I asked softly as he chuckled at my reaction. We appoint higher ranked people under us to safeguard a part of our territory, respectively, where they look after around 5,000 pack members each. These people create the council, the rules, the homes, etc. When it comes to only serious matter, the gods are involved for negotiation, and when it's just minor issues such as disrespect against each other's alpha, they take care of themselves. So basically, you all can just sit idle all the day and do nothing. I pointed out sarcastically, pretty much, but we don't. He remarked, then how many werewolves do you look after? 20,000 or so? Are you even existing? I squirted. Well, you are literally sitting on me, baby. He retorted, making me huff. So does that mean I will also be supervising the 20,000 wolves? Yes, he chipper. No big deal, not a big deal at all, I murmured to myself sarcastically as he made me jump on his lap as he pulled the chair closer to the desk. You will get used to it, baby. It's not that difficult, and anyways, I'm not letting you do that much work. You are still very young for Luna, he signed, massaging my neck. And I'm not letting you do any extreme. You are like my own mother. She was the most peaceful she evolved we had in a night family, and you are now too. Whereas my grandmother was a very brutal female alpha, right now you will follow my mother and how she did her Luna duties during her time. And I'm doing this because you will be more efficient in that field rather than fighting and going into wars, Cuspies. I will try as much as I can. I smile. Good to know, he grinned. So, what is the meeting going to be about with my brothers? I asked another question curiously. You will find out in the next few minutes, he replied comfortably before getting up from the chair with me in his arm and putting me down gently and pulled me to the door. They are not in trouble, right? I hastily before following him as he shook his head. Don't worry, baby. I will have a good surprise for them. Thank you for watching and please don't forget to subscribe my channel. Bye bye.